thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that the flash drive sale is still going on, as well as membership into the Merkabah Academy. 2 different sales. One sale is for the flash drive plus the digital downloads for the year, as well as membership for life. There's a few more spots left for that. And the other one is simply for the flash drive and the download, so definitely take advantage before that is up. But, let me get into this video because, some things, as I always talk about, I try to stay out of, especially anything pertaining to the entertainment industry and artists and stuff like that. But, a lot of people, a lot of questions about, what's been happening and what's been going on. Everybody know about the killing of Nipsey Hussle. And it's been a big deal, for a lot of people for many reasons, especially since he was supposedly coming out with a documentary about the trial of Dr. Sebi. When you listen to a lot of his interviews, it was clear, this brother was conscious. He was doing this thing. He was motivating a lot of people, open up businesses, employ black people off the street. He was, a real positive role model to a lot of people, and he was doing, big things. And one of the things is, as I always talk about when you get into, this entertainment industry, there's unspoken rules. I always talk about this. It's things that you have to know, going in. And what he was doing was just, for me watching, outside looking in, I was shocked. I was a little shocked about the stuff he talked about. When you look at the interviews, stuff he talked about in interviews, dude was definitely conscious. He was definitely doing this thing. He definitely was about his people and definitely about uplifting people. And he was conscious. He wanted to do the right thing. And the thing is, when you get into that business, the entertainment industry has unspoken rules. I always talk about, it's stuff you have to know. It's stuff you got to follow. The whole Dr. Sebi thing, of course, would be taboo when you pay attention to what it would do, to the pharmaceutical industry, to the whole medical industry. If that type of information got out and was accepted, walls would come crashing down. It would be catastrophic for them. And when you have a person who's has that kind of reach, any type of celebrity that can get people to start thinking differently and looking at stuff differently, that's going to be, a big red flag to these people. And things are going to happen. So what's been going on? That's the part I can't stand, the part that has me pissed, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. I wouldn't, in other instances speak out or even talk about this type stuff because to me it's obvious. But what's been happening is this huge debate is going on as to whether or not this was just some random nigger shit, some random nigga killer, and this nigga was just mad, upset that he called him out, what have you, and just killed this bull on some regular hood shit. Or was this, a hit? Was this, all set up, COINTELPRO, Illuminati, what have you, whatever you want to call it, conspiracy theorists, whatever. Which one is which. And you have now, and this is what they do, you have black people fussing back and forth. You have the timeline being cluttered with people arguing back and forth of whether it's just with some hood shit, or was this just, somebody who was taken out because of what he was doing. And the thing is this, so the fuck what? What is, and I say that to the people who are basically cussing out the people who are conspiracy theorists, the people who are saying, well, this is just some hood shit that happened. You don't know what happened. You don't know how it is. Like, why as a black person, why as a person who say you come from, who's supposedly conscious or into this type of information, why would you even question anybody who is looking at the whole incident sideways? That's what I don't get. What's the argument for? Why are people questioning people who are saying this dude was assassinated, or this dude was, he was hit, he was murdered, his man was in on it, all this and that? Why question that when we have a history of this type of thing happening? We seen black people kill Malcolm X, took him out. These are people that sat in a lot of his lectures and heard what he had to say, still killed him. Watched him come up, they still took him out. People who knew him. Same thing, Dr. King. If you want to go by, the information that's been put out there about Jesse Jackson having involvement in his assassination. You can look at Khalid Muhammad was set up. It's basis for people questioning this death. And people are acting like it's in left field and people just tripping and flipping out and everything is conspiracy theory when we have a history. Look at what happened with Marcus Garvey. You have black people. W.E.B. Du Bois, sell him out. had him basically deported out, or had him deported out. You know, this is what happens. This is what's been happening whenever you see somebody rising and having a reach. And to me, what was weird about the whole thing is how much I was seeing this guy all over social media before it happened. And that's what really stuck out to me, because it's like, okay, you know, I have a personal Instagram and I follow some celebrities, mostly people from Philly, but I kept seeing them. Nipsey, every time I go on timelines, Nipsey everywhere. I'm like, damn, Nipsey killing. He was in Philly. He was with everybody, and it was this dude kept popping up, and it just was like, I'm seeing this dude a lot. Never would I fathom, you know, what would happen. But to me, you know, that was suspect. But we got to understand, one, that it's a precedence behind this thing. It's a historical fact that we can look to and see whenever there's a person in a position of power that's trying to do anything for black folks, they are taken out. And this is what we call a true, real one. Pac was a real one. That's why he had to go. Pac didn't give a shit. He knew what could possibly happen, and he said, I'm going to get killed. Plain and simple. It's the same thing with Nipsey. Nipsey, I'm pretty sure he had to understand the ramifications of what he was saying, but he spoke out no matter what. He talked about it. To him, it was just like, yo, it was real. It was like, this is what's going on. We need to change this. When he started talking about energy and everything, the type of energy you put out is what you get back, and everything like that, you know, that's when I knew. I was like, yeah, I got to follow this dude a little bit more, because he's talking some shit. And he's on point. What had me shocked was the amount of people who couldn't believe that this was, you know, basically not just an isolated hood shooting. You have to really look at the whole thing, and just, dude was committing suicide. So I don't really buy the story of this dude being upset that he got called out and then leaving and coming back and shooting up the place. When you look at the video, it basically looked like they was all standing there having a conversation, and then the shots, you know, came. So dude, you know, walked up and started shooting or whatever happened, but it was clearly that, you know people. This picture is surfacing with this dude and Nipsey. He had to know the dude. Street people are smart. You know, we're smart. It's a such thing called street smart. So you don't get as far as he did, which I'm only like was 4 years older than him. You don't get that far in the streets and not have that, you know, intuition. So he would know that, okay, this dude's gonna come back, or this is the type of dude that's known for doing this type of work, and you're gonna act accordingly. What you don't see is when the shots rang out, it's nobody busting back. It's the shots, two people go down, people scattering and running. It's not like how you would think it would be if you're a person with that kind of money and status, and you know you got enemies coming, or you know you got something coming back at you. It was something like, I told him this, he know what it is, he gonna stay away. And the way it went down was like so bold, and the explanation behind it doesn't fit the crime. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if somebody's saying to you, you a snitch, don't come back around here. You know, what person you know that has the character of a snitch, which is usually, you know, a rat, punk. What person you know with that kind of character, who basically already ratting because he don't want to be in prison, who basically already ratting because he don't want to face the legal system or any type of ramifications. That's why you rat, or why you a snitch. But what type of person you know who's doing that is going to leave, come back, and kill somebody so powerful and so loved, and think it's just going to be over? He might as well put the gun to his head and kill himself after that. Because it's like, you know, what's the point? You know, you're dead. Your life is basically over once you pull that trigger. And you had actual time to leave and think about it and contemplate it, then come back and do what you did. It just don't fit. And for people to sit around and say, okay, this is just some random hood nigga shit, you know, and everybody know this, man, like, come on, man. Come on. And this is exactly how you would have to do it if you are them. And this is how they have, you know, historically done it. You know, you make it like it's one of us, so we can point the finger at one of us, so we can think it's a us problem, and we don't look nowhere else. But it's not that much coincidence in the world that this dude been talking like he been talking, and the whole Dr. Sebi thing and everything, and then this, you know. a real one, the type of people who you look to hopefully emerge out of the entertainment industry and start telling people truth and giving people facts and giving people hope that, you know, it's a possibility that, you know, something good can come from them being an artist other than music that's destroying us. So again, you know, when I first was put on, yeah, I mean, I listen to the music, you know. I'm not really into hip hop too much, except for the old stuff. It was what it was, but there's a lot of positivity in it as well. And that message is so powerful that he was trying to put out and get people to understand about what we're doing. It's something that you can't ignore. It's something that I know that they wasn't going to continue to tolerate, because you have to look at the narrative, the way that these artists, they have been letting come out mainstream, the stuff they're talking about, the stuff they're doing. They're not doing nowhere near what he was doing or talking about that type of stuff, and trying to do something that's actually going to wake up black people and help black people, especially when you had a whole aspect of black business and black entrepreneurs on top of black health and being, you know, holistic and understanding, you know, the teachings of Dr. Sebi and everything he spoke to. So, you know, I have my differences on some of the stuff, of course, but, you know, it's still stuff that people need to understand and know and, you know, become conscious and aware of. And, you know, he was doing that. So this is just going to be another one of those instances where we allow them to assassinate somebody that's important to us, important to the black family, the black community, and then we're arguing about something that's completely stupid and not paying attention to the fact. And I feel like we do that sometimes so we don't have to address what's happening. Because if it was 100% clear that this was a government hit, that the government took them out, and there was no doubt about it, the media don't have to say shit. The media, as long as the media don't talk about it, as long as they suppress it and it's not everywhere, it would be just on the timeline, and guess what? Niggas would just forget about it. They wouldn't talk about it. They wouldn't be back and forth with all this bickering. They would just leave it alone. If it was 100% clear that the government did it, what could we really actually do? But say some stuff and then leave it at that. You know, the quote, you know, if they kill me with this Dr. Sebi thing, y'all, you know, basically better ride for me. You know, that's not gonna happen. And people, it's funny how it seemed like all these people coming out of the woodwork, all these people cared so much, and people act like this dude was like family, and all over social media ready to fight people and actually commit more black on black crime over the debate of what happened to another black person. It's ridiculous. There's no amount of arguing that we can do it's going to bring them back, or it's going to really reveal the truth behind what's happening. It's going to be one of those things that, you know, it's going to be called a conspiracy theory. Dude has already been caught and arrested. I mean, you don't do something like that and only go, 20 miles away, somewhere where you can be easily caught. You know, no shots fired on this dude. He was taken, and that was it. You know, it's a done deal. But people want to say he was crazy. COINTELPRO, you know, MK Ultra, all kinds of stuff is out there. But at the end of the day, you know, Nipsey is gone. Any type of positivity that, you know, he had coming up, hopefully it's continued. Supposedly Nick Cannon want to take control of that documentary for Dr. Sebi and bring it out, which who knows what to expect from that shit. But you know, it's gone with, you know, everything that we have been seeing with, you know, them killing so many black people and them slowing down any progress that we've had, and keeping the oppression going. You know, that's what it's about. So the question that was posed to me of whether or not it was a hit or, you know, something extra besides just a regular shooting is, of course it was. I mean, it's not that much coincidence in the world. Of course it was. Especially since the fact I've been seeing this dude everywhere with everybody. And it's just, to me, that was suspect that I just keep seeing him all the time. And usually when somebody is speaking like that, you know, you got some people that's on board, but for the most part, mainstream, you're not going to see them or hear them. It's one of the things I always point to about the media, because, you know, you have the news walking with this dude, going through the hood and doing a whole story on him, talking about his businesses and everything he's doing for the community and everything like that. And we got to understand, the news is not our friend. They are spies, especially if they're doing any type of report on a black celebrity that's doing something positive for black folks. That's a red flag right there. We know they don't want that. It's like, what is this for? We know the media is controlled. We know all this shit is puppets. It's puppet stuff. A lot of you have seen that video that's been floating around the internet of all these news channels repeating the same exact thing. All throughout the country, they repeat the same exact thing, the same intro, the same slogan for different things. And we've seen that video where they're talking about the same thing. How was every news channel, basically from the East Coast to the West Coast, starting their day talking about the same thing in the same way, using the same words? I mean, I tell you, it's controlled. So the media is not your friend. And, you know, someone who seems so conscious, you would think would understand that, well, wait a minute. You know, I'm in this situation. I'm messing with this industry. The news is on my back. I'm doing all these interviews and I'm talking about this. And I don't know if he has somebody in his corner to really, you know, hold, you know, slow him down or, you know, really understand, you know, if he understood what he was doing. You know, really talk to him. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know these people are going to come after you? And I think a lot of people, you know, since the whole Meek Mill thing, probably think, you know, Meek Mill got away with it. Meek Mill came out talking about, you know, justice system, and actually got freaking law, helped get laws passed and everything like that. So maybe he thought, you know, he'd be cool, you know, and you got to look at that as well with Meek Mills. But still, you would think he would know. You know, you would think he would be conscious enough to understand that Dr. Sebi's subject is like, no. Especially everything that was going on around that time when Dr. Sebi was killed. A lot of other holistic healers and teachers disappeared. A lot of people was dropping. And just that whole story behind, you know, Dr. Sebi just was suspect. It just didn't seem right. So it's something we got to all look at and question. You know, he left behind, you know, family, you know, children, and a lot of people that was, you know, looking up to him and relying on him, you know, for work and everything else. And I think it's messed up. And I think that, you know, the fact that he was riding for us and trying to do something to help black people, we owe it to him and to his family to really get to the bottom of it, which I know that's probably not going to happen, because at the end of the day, people are really only jumping on it because it's trending and they really don't give a shit deep down. A lot of people out here, you know, they're already selling t-shirts and trying to make money off of them, and it's everywhere. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. A lot of people are just going to be all over what's trending because it's trending, and then month, 2 months from now, it's going to be done. You might see a couple memorials here and there in the years to come, but for the most part, you know, a few years, a few months, we're going to be talking about something else. And it's going to be an instance where we're letting them know, you can go ahead and kill anybody that's trying to do anything for us. We're going to argue about it instead of doing something about it. And that's basically what we're saying. We're just going to argue and bicker about, you know, who killed him, or, you know, what was his death really, rather than, you know, look deeper and say it's something more here. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Me personally, I believe definitely suspect. But at the end of the day, you know, people are entitled to their opinions and entitled to look at things the way they look at it and perceive things the way they perceive. But I think where you mess up at is where you arguing with people who have an ulterior, you know, idea, a different idea about the situation. But both of you guys are really on the same page. You know, you both really want to figure out what's going on and what happened. There shouldn't be all this arguing and back and forth about what actually happened to this man, except for the fact that we don't know, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it on both sides. Of course, whether you're for the fact that this was just some hood shit that happened, or you're for the fact that this was some, you know, conspiracy shit, at the end of the day, you want to get to the bottom of it, and you're going to address both issues. You can't be walking into something like this and just saying this is what it was, and we're going to stick to that. And social media is ablaze with conspiracy theory talk and people calling each other names, and they're gonna shoot and fight and all this over, you know, somebody being killed. You know, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. And I just hope, you know, his daughter and everything. I mean, that's the sad part about it. It's just crazy, you know, having a young girl that's old enough, a daughter old enough to understand about this stuff, and you just gone over trying to do the right thing. I mean, what does that say? to the kids, that you can be trying to do the right thing and you can get whacked for it, or you can be trying to help people. I mean, he's helping people. I mean, what kind of look is that to the black community, that somebody who's actually helping people and who needs to be kept alive can be killed? And so even for him, like, it just makes you think, like, I mean, it's how gone can you be to not understand that whatever was said to you is not, it doesn't justify a death sentence. It's not that big to where you got to come and take this man who is doing so much, from everybody over the conversation.